We are at the helm of a 2020 Hyundai Sonata, and oh, I'm excited to drive this one. Coming up a little bit later, I'm going to show you guys a feature that I am genuinely not sure whether or not my family will love or hate. It'll probably be one or the other. It's definitely not going to be in the middle. But first, information explosion. Boy, sweetie, you sure are getting fancy with the graphics. Needless full throttle acceleration! Yeah.
It's loud.
Well, yeah, when I'm accelerating needlessly at full throttle, which is a pretty good segue. Interior! So you immediately noted that it was a little bit louder. Obviously, when the engine is doing its darndest to get the thing moving, it's going to be a little loud, but you're not wrong. At speed, there's a little bit of wind noise that makes its way into the cabin, but overall, it's not too bad. Let's talk about the seats. How's your seat comfort?
It is cushy.
Yeah, it's like the right amount of cushiness. I would say it could be even squishier if they wanted to go that direction, but it finds a really nice balance, and that's going to be an ongoing theme through this entire discussion, is the concept of balance, a yin and a yang kind of thing. Kind of like you and I, how like you're nice and then, well, you know.
You're really nice.
Yeah, nice and really nice. That's how we are. The seat comfort in front and back is great, and I will say I have adequate lumbar support. Occupant space. You probably have plenty of room up there. It looks like
I always do.
You always do. But I will say that in the front seat, I was a little concerned about headroom for taller people. But no, what I've noticed is that somebody who's really tall, like I have a buddy who's 6'2", he sat in here, and the seat goes back far enough that there's even a little more headroom the further back you go. So for him, he fit just fine, no problems. Back seat, there's a sculpted headliner to make room for your head. So even I have clearance with this long, sexy torso. Is that an innuendo iguana moment? I think that, yeah, okay. Hey, buddy. Rear seat legroom, similarly great. I think if you wanted just nothing but legroom, you could buy a Volkswagen Passat and have more of that, but then you'd have a lot less of everything else. So pick your poison. What do you think about the material quality? I see you poking at the dash.
It kind of looks like hard plastic, but there's a little bit of give to it.
Yeah, which means it's not hard plastic.
Yes.
But
it looks like that usual pebbly hard plastic.
That is a great observation, that it does look like it might be kind of cheap, but then consider that cheapness an invitation to scrutinize and be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
That there are quite a number of soft surfaces in here. If you poke around with your fingers, go ahead, feel free to poke, poke. It's an invitation. There's plenty of soft stuff around here. The material quality is quite nice. Aesthetically, I know what I think. What do you think about the aesthetic of the interior?
It looks designed.
Yeah, it does look designed.
Like they've taken something that could be ordinary, like this handle, and they've put a little more thought into it and done something that I don't feel like I've seen 100 times.
Yeah, and what I'll add is that these little streaks of metallic trim are reflective of the aesthetic outside. So there's this big chrome concept that we'll talk about a little bit more in a moment, but I like that there's unity between interior and exterior, and yet it doesn't look zany in here. They've managed to not over-design it. Armrest test. Let's see, we've got roughly even height, nicely positioned, enough padding. I mean, it's not gushy, but it's certainly soft enough, and I can drive in a comfortable 8-4. Sweetie, I'm giving the Hyundai Sonata 2 elbows up. What? Oh, I know. What an exciting moment.
Is this a first?
It's not a first, actually.
Okay.
I don't think. This is the problem with doing so many videos on 2 channels. I do the videos in Kelley Blue Book, KBB, please subscribe. I do the videos here, Micah Drives, please subscribe. I don't know what I've done anymore. It's all blending together.
And I'm sure as heck not going to go through all those videos.
No, we don't have time for that. Let's just plow forward. Rear window test. Yay. Let's talk about family friendliness. We are a family. It is our obligation. So in the back seat, one of the things we've discovered about driving some sedans recently is that having a 4-year-old daughter makes it very easy for her to get in and out when you have such a low vehicle. Mm-hmm. So child accessibility is fantastic in many sedans, including the Sonata, which is wonderful. So the lower anchors, they're easily accessible. There's just a little button there to tell you where they are. 3 upper tethers, and I love that there's a middle position because a lot of people like using the middle position. From a functionality standpoint, there's plenty that's family friendly about the Sonata. But of course, the real test, does my daughter like it? Sweetie, do you like the car we're driving in?
I do.
She does! Yay! I'm gonna dub the 2020 Hyundai Sonata family friendly. No, Sweetie, you do the honors.
It's family friendly.
Oh, and good job, Future Evie, adding that sick graphic. Well, you swallow that, and before we move on to style, let's talk about the trunk. So trunk space is a very reasonable 16.3 cubic feet. That's great for the segment. Couple of notes: the hinges are the gooseneck style, and you know what that means. We're gonna crush the Muzio family holiday goose, which is apparently a thing we do. It's not that big a deal. You just need to be aware that if you stack to the top, you might crush whatever's up top. What I really like about the trunk, though, is that there are releases back there. So you've got 2 releases for the seat backs, and you can pull them right in the back and then push so you don't have to walk around to the side of the vehicle to release the seat backs. 2 more bits of technology. On higher trims, they have a smart trunk that allows you to unlock the trunk. It'll pop right open if you just stand back there 3 seconds with the key in your pocket. You can deactivate it, but for me, I have impotently swung my foot under so many bumpers trying to get the thing to flop open, and it just rarely does. If you wheeled my corpse, but I had the thing in my pocket, like dead me could easily get that trunk open.
Now I know how to dispose of the body. Thanks for making it easy on me, baby.
Of course, it wouldn't be a Micah Drives video without some sort of challenge. Sweetie, Can you find the trunk release? Do you know where the trunk release is? What? I love a good mystery, don't you? Style!
The mystery is why I allow you to continue to display my ignorance.
So, Adi, remember, your job is not to be an expert. Your job is to be an average human being, perhaps a proxy for people in the audience who don't live and breathe the automotive industry. You're providing a valuable service.
You're welcome.
For example, you don't know anything about car design, but you do have an opinion about it.
I sure do.
What do you think about the 2020 Hyundai Sonata?
I really like it. It's so sporty.
Isn't it?
It was really unexpected.
It's weirdly stylish for a car that's just made for basically hauling us around. Standard, boring family. I really like the Sonata's design, specifically because there is some real cleverness with the exterior. So the headlight treatment. When you drive, there's a distinct LED lighting pattern that gives it such a clear face. In fact, I was on a press launch the other day with Genesis, and they were talking about how the future of design, lighting is the new chrome, and Genesis is the luxury division of Hyundai's. I think that same philosophy is being expressed right here.
It's literally the new chrome.
It is literally the new chrome too, because great point, when you turn the lights off, that lighting element disappears and becomes chrome. Then if you go to the back, it's got this sort of sleek, almost, I don't know, like interesting bobtail design where the top kind of like continues a little bit, and it's very sleek and racy. The thing I like is that the taillights have these vortex generators. Vortex generators are like to make the air swirl, and it's supposed to be good for aerodynamics. But the detail I love is that when you look at the side of the vehicle, it looks like there's this depth to it. And then when you walk to the side, you realize, no, there's not depth. They make a line that's thin, and then it gets thick here, and that gives you the impression that the vehicle has depth that it doesn't. It's like a Willy Wonka room. You walk in and it looks like it's very far, but it actually just gets very narrow. I love that kind of visual trickery. It's so clever.
You wanted to do that in our loft.
It's not that was a bad idea. It's just it should have been applied to a sensible midsize sedan.
Who knew?
Hey, do you want to see what I'm driving or flying between these YouTube reviews? Follow me on Instagram. Future Evie has put down a graphic. Sorry, Future Evie.
It's a boring graphic this time.
Aw, yeah, getting lazy. In motion! And as we get into the in motion segment. Let me remind you to subscribe because it's been 3 to 5 minutes since I've done though, and this is YouTube, and we thrive on the subscribes. That doesn't quite rhyme, and so I'm going to back away from that one. Hey, let's talk about the ride quality a little bit. Remember how earlier I talked about the concept of balance, the yin and the yang? So let's say...
Are you going to show me your yang?
I'm not going to show you. We are overusing the innuendo of gone. It's like you get a new toy, you have to play with it. We got to dial that back, baby. You got sport on one side and you got comfort on the other. How do you reconcile those competing interests? The trick is to find balance, and I think the Sonata has found it. So if the Passat is the comfort, and then Mazda 6 is the sport, the Sonata is very much in that middle space. So ride quality is not floaty. It's none of this stuff where you kind of like levitate over bumps on the road. You feel the road, but it's just nicely damped out. I'll also note that the steering quality doesn't suck, which is a miracle, because for me, the Hyundai Sonata was always my go-to example of craptastic steering feel. I would say, oh, you know what? Let's just get back on track. Super steering feel. Oh, thank you. So nice to have Sensi back in the equation. That iguana was getting it too easy. While sitting here motionless, let me note that outward visibility is great. It's notable because that's unusual in a modern vehicle. I can't tell you how many times I get into a car, super thick A-pillar, super thick B-pillar, and I can't see over. Like Volvo has a real issue with that kind of thing.
It's like they don't want you to be beheaded. Yeah, beheaded is wrong.
Yeah, beheaded is more like you pissed off the king.
Right.
Yeah, decapitation is more
That's
about...
the one.
Yeah. Can you believe this is a family review? It's funny, huh? Yeah. Everybody hang on. Lights changing. We're going to make a left. Sort of a slow left. And I'm hanging back a little. And here we go. Whee! Yeah! What I've noticed about the Hyundai Sonata is that when you go through like an on-ramp or any just long turn, you go in as fast as you think you should be driving, and then there's more. It handles surprisingly well. Let's talk powertrain for a moment. So this is the limited trim, it's the top trim. So the two highest trims have a 1.6 liter turbocharged engine. You saw the details in the information explosion. What I didn't mention up front is that the base engine is a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated engine. So they're both 4 cylinders. So here's what's weird. The higher level engine, the 1.6 liter turbo, has less horsepower than the base engine. However, it has more torque.
Okay.
But not a lot more torque. So it's kind of like, 6 one, half dozen the other. What's weird too is that the base engine is also more efficient. To my mind, and I kind of like this as a guy who's anti-elitist, I like the fact that if you get the lower trims and you have the base engine, there is no shame in that. That's a perfectly reasonable engine to have. They both have the same 8-speed automatic, which by the way is very, very smooth. I like it. In normal mode, throttle response, as you push into the accelerator, it's a little bit lackadaisical. It feels like there should be more off the line. It's very smooth though, very smooth.
How does it do if you punch it when you're already at speed?
I just did that. I would have expected a downshift there. It seemed like it was a little bit inhibited with the inclination to downshift, and I'm guessing that might be something that is applied to the turbocharged engine because of its torque. That might not be carried over to the naturally aspirated engine. I haven't driven the naturally aspirated engine, but that's just a little light speculation. But I do know I'm going to floor it right now and see what happens. There's reasonable get up and go. It's nice. There's plenty of thrust there, but we got a good on-ramp here. Oh. Man, we got to punch it, yo.
Are we going to feel the G's?
I certainly hope so. You realize, but if you repeat it, you have to make yourself a graphic, right?
No! You have to do it 3 times before you make a graphic.
Like summoning a wizard?
Or Beetlejuice.
Okay. Let's go a little bit quick through this corner. Hey, sweetie, you want to go fast? Okay, let's go fast. See, it just kind of keeps going. There's more. Whee! Weirdly fun for a family sedan. We are on the freeway. By the way, if you're wondering, that's Elsa in the back. Not the Disney Elsa, because we couldn't pay royalties for that. This is another Elsa that just happens to like the color blue. Oh God, we're gonna get sued. If you like the fact we're going to get sued by a large corporation, hit that like and subscribe button.
Save us.
Let's take this off-ramp here, and I can demonstrate one other aspect of the Sonata that I like. Feel that there?
Mm-hmm.
The brakes have this wonderful immediacy and yet very controlled. Brake feel is excellent. Let's just come to a complete beautiful stop. Let's ease this thing on in here. Oh, and looking at those trees, can you tell when they stop moving? I don't know if you can even tell. I mean,
That's very smooth.
it's a very smooth stop.
Mm-hmm.
Remarks!
What does remarks mean?
Basically, it's all the stuff that I want to talk about that doesn't go into one of the other categories. If we were playing a game like Jeopardy, it'd be called potpourri. Let's see how we feel, which I don't know if that's a thing you can do, with the 360-degree camera here in the Sonata. Very clear, nice smooth stitching from one camera to the next. It just looks great. And then you've got all these multiple views. You can look behind you, you can look in front of you. If you put it in drive, it'll give you a front camera view. I really like their implementation of the 360 cam. It's very cool. And then the infotainment system itself is similarly great. It's very cleanly organized. It looks modern but not weird for weird's sake. It comes in two sizes. The base is 8-inch. The optional is 10.25. This is the larger of the two because we're driving the fancy limited trim. But it's just really easy to find your way through.
Does it bother you at all that those buttons are on a weird angle?
There's no seek knob or seek buttons. There are these just sort of touch sensitive
Yeah.
spots. I'm okay with it because usually as the driver, I'll just use the steering wheel controls anyway. Standard is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. That's great. But here, can I show you guys something you will either love or hate? Sweetie, do you want to see something that you'll either love or hate? I want you to tell me if you love it or you hate it. Okay?
I hate it already.
You found it? May I present Sounds of Nature?
It's so lively in here.
Oh, you think that's lively? Sit back and relax and enjoy the calm sea waves. Do you want to see another one? Okay, I've got another one for you. How about Rainy Day? Hey, can you imagine if you're driving and then she had to go tinkles?
No, this would be very bad.
We could do another one, yeah. Open air cafe. Man, hanging out at the Starbucks is so relaxing. Okay, verdict. Do you love it or you hate it? You love it. Do you love it or you hate it?
I hate it.
I guess I'm the deciding vote in the Muzio family assessment of Sounds of Nature, and I am ambivalent. There is no decision. Look, this is what she looks like on Island Time.
I hate being on island time.
Scowling, drink in your hand, the sea, angry scowl.
Why are you not turning it on?
Because we have to talk about the push-button transmission. Some people love an old-style gear shift lever, but I think this works pretty well. It takes up less space, and the way they've put park over here all by itself means there's only 3 selections. So you have one on this side, one on this side, and one in the middle, making it very easy to distinguish one from another.
I want to have one of these cars someday.
Oh, that's a pretty solid endorsement of the Hyundai Sonata.
It really is.
Now let's drive needlessly fast to the left. Whee!
Can the car drive by itself?
The car can kind of drive by itself. Highway drive assistant. Basically, it keeps the vehicle in the center of its lane and it'll automatically manage the speed for you with the vehicle ahead. And it works pretty well, but I've noticed at speed, the steering wheel tends to move a bit more than I would like.
Based on the name, it sounds like you are not supposed to use it for normal street driving.
Hey, we're rebels, man. We're the Muzios. We do as we please. Of course, the real test is, wow, that guy's hauling. He just realized he bought a Lincoln MKT and has to get to the dealership to trade it back in. He's like, oh my God, I bought an MKT. Full speed dynamic cruise control. That's the only way you should implement this. Let's see how we come to a stop. My foot is not on the brake, but it is covering it. Easing in there, easing into a stop. And steady. Ding.
Ooh, that's a very smooth stop for...
Yep. And then when the car ahead starts to move, all I have to do is hit the accelerator and the vehicle will take off. Or I can hit the switch. And it'll also let me know. It'll say, hey, the vehicle ahead's moving. You idiot.
Get off your phone.
As we all know, everybody's moved to SUVs. People hate sedans, yada yada. So the sedan segment has shrunk, but there are still some really good players. The Accord is great. The Camry has its pluses. I would say though, the Sonata is very, very strong. It's got all the style, ton of really cool features. It's competitively priced, great warranty. I would venture to say that if I were in the market for a midsize sedan, this would be the one. Do you have any thoughts about the Sonata? Have we missed any remarks? Tell us in the comment section. Emotion factor. Sweetie, how do you feel about the emotional content of the Hyundai Sonata?
It is way stronger than I normally get from a midsize sedan. It's making me wonder, how is it priced as compared to all those other cars?
Very competitive, very competitive.
Really?
About 24.5 grand base price, including destination. Yeah, and you could buy the absolute cheapest Sonata and be very happy.
It'd almost be preferable because of that engine, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's really no reason why we shouldn't just steal this Sonata and start a new life, perhaps drive down Mexico way. Life's changing. Time to light 'em up. Do you think I'm cool now? Synopsis! I find there's no better way to ease into the synopsis than a long, awkward pause, so thank you for that.
It's what I'm here for.
Yep, we all have our roles. Synopsizing the 2020 Hyundai Sonata, I was thinking, gosh, so what's something that's sort of been around for a while, but then like has really hit its stride as of late? I thought Bradley Cooper.
Oh.
That guy has been an actor for a long time, quite capable, but man, did you guys see A Star Is Born? He sang the hell out of that. He directed the hell out of that. And he was already great. Like, where did this come from? I didn't know you had these talents. The Hyundai Sonata is the Bradley Cooper of midsize sedans. Hey guys, if you liked the video, please like the video. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It is the lifeblood of the channel. It helps us grow and do more cool stuff, so we would appreciate that. Oh, and sweetie, I wasn't sure how to end these videos. I've asked a lot of people like, hey, any suggestions? I've got it. You know what I love more than almost anything else? Don't say anything funny. The answer was a high five. And
It's so true.
I love a high five. And you know what? If you see me in person, come get your high five. And that's how I'll end these videos. Hey, come get your high five. You want to see something cool? Do you know I can drive the car without actually getting inside it? You hold down this button right here. What? You driving the car? And yes, it recognizes objects. I hope. Hey.